Hi guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I will be walking you through the process of setting up Dbt Redshift connection. Okay, so that is connecting Dbt to Redshift data warehouse. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so like I mentioned in this video, we will be going through the process of setting up Dbt Redshift connection. Okay, so that is connecting Dbt to Redshift data warehouse. So this is the DBT documentation page where it walks you through the things that you need to do in order to make that connection possible. Okay. So I'm going to put this document in the description for this video so that you can walk through it. But we will be referring to this documentation as we go along in this video. Okay. So some of the things that you definitely do need to have in order to make this connection successful is the Redshift account. Okay, so you do need to already have your Redshift set up, and then from there now we can go ahead and install the library for DBT and then make that connection. Okay, so you do need the Redshift data warehouse available. So right here I'm going to go to my AWS account, and just, if you don't have any AWS account, go ahead and just go to AWS. I think it is AWS console, I believe. So just go to AWS console, and I think this is going to log me in, I guess. No, but yeah, do go ahead and create an account. If you're a first-time user, it's going to give you a free account. And then once you create that account, go ahead to services and just search for Redshift, Amazon Redshift, and then it will bring you to the Redshift homepage right here. So this is my Redshift dashboard, and there is a video that I made previously where I went through the process of creating a serverless data warehouse in Redshift. So this is 2024, and previously we only used to have provisioned Redshift cluster. What that means was you had to create a Redshift data warehouse that runs in a compute instance, or that runs in a cluster. So that was not very cost effective, because if you did not shut it down, then it will continue running for a very long time. But AWS came up with this serverless option, and this one, all you have to do is create the namespace and workgroups, and you will have your Redshift account running, or a Redshift data warehouse running without the need of using the compute instance. So I did go through the process for doing that, and I'm not going to go through that video, but I'm going to put the link again in the description so that you can go watch it in case you want to set up the serverless account. But I think it should be the same. If you have the proficient version of Redshift, the process should be pretty similar. So let's just go ahead, and I will show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of these namespaces that I created previously, where my Redshift warehouse is running on currently. So I'm going to click that, and right here you can see I have my namespace and everything, and this is all of the information that I do need in order to make the connection. So you have the endpoint here. If you are connecting with JDBC, you have here ODBC and all of that. Now in order to access the Redshift browser, editor, you can go here to the left side and click that, and here you will see query editor version 2. So just click that. Okay, so just go here and then click the query editor. So this is also one thing that was lacking in the previous version of Redshift. I don't believe we had a browser editor. So what that meant was, for you to be able to run your queries, you had to create the cluster, the Redshift cluster, and then use a SQL client in order to connect. But this one now comes with the browser editor, so you can actually run your queries in the browser itself without the need of connecting to another SQL client. Okay, so right here now you can see this is my editor, and on the left side here I have my workspaces. So this is one of the workspaces that I created previously for namespace, and this is the one that I'm going to use in this video. There's another one here I created as well, but this is the one I will be using. Again, do watch that video in case you want to follow the process of creating a serverless warehouse. Okay, so once I have this, then the other thing that I will need to do now is go over to DBT and set up the process. But before we go ahead and do that, let's just quickly check the documentation and see what is required. So you do need the type as Redshift host name. Okay, so I showed you that in the browser. We need the port number. By default, this is a port number 5439. You need the database name. You need the schema and some of these other things. So the thing that we currently lack is the database name and the schema. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create that quickly. So inside your workspace, and you can do that in the browser itself. So just you have the selection here. So here the one that is checked is for namespace, and from here I do have a number of databases. I think this one probably will not show anything for you, but I'm going to create another database called DBT demo. Okay, so I'm just going to say create database, and I'm going to call this DBT demo, and this is the one that I will be using in this video. So I'll go ahead and hit create for this. So this should create a database called DBT demo, and if you refresh here, we should be able to see that database created. Okay, so right here, so that is the database that was created. By default, it comes with public schema, but we are not going to be using public, so let's also go ahead and create a schema called staging. Okay, and remember here we had, I think I need to refresh this so that it can create inside this, but maybe let me just say use, I believe this one should work in Redshift because I want to create the schema inside this one. Maybe it's not going to work. Use database, maybe like that. No, it's not going to allow it. So the staging schema that I want to create should be inside DBT demo. So let's create it and see what happens. This is something that is new to me. I don't know if it's going to create inside that schema. It might not. Yeah, it created inside this demo. Yeah, it created inside this one. So we do need to refresh this one. How do we do that? There's no way of refreshing it. So I'm just going to create a new editor here. I'm going to create a new query editor. So, and I'm going to switch to, so we have a serverless here, DBT demo right here. Okay, so that's the one we created. And I want to create schema dbt, call it staging. Okay, this should run, I think, in this other tab also. If you're running it on a different schema, I believe if you put the database name here, like so, dbt demo dot staging, this should run. I think already exists dbt demo. Yeah, it doesn't let you do that. Anyway, so I think you have to manually select it up here. It's kind of weird. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we have our staging schema hopefully created inside this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's now created inside dbt demo, and this is the schema that we are going to use. So we have our database as dbt demo and the schema as staging. All right, so we go back now to the documentation, and we have this ready, we have this ready, we have this ready, we have this ready. So in terms of the things that we need from Redshift side, we are good to go. Okay. So now the rest of the process will be handled by the DBT process and all of that. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to Visual Studio Code, and this is my repo which I've been using. Again, if you don't have anything like this, just go ahead and create a folder in your desktop or your file explorer somewhere, and then come here to VS Code, open it, and then it's going to bring you to your file explorer. Just pick the one that you're using to work. Okay, and it's going to open it here. So I have been using this, and these are my DBT projects. So this was the one that I set up for MySQL, and this is another one that I set up for Snowflake, and now today I'm going to add another one for Redshift. So if you check the documentation for setting up Dbt Connection Redshift, this is the library that is needed. And if you scroll down here, it tells you that you do need to install these packages or libraries. So you need DBT Core, you need Redshift, Dbt Redshift. So I'm going to copy this, and as you can see here, I have my requirements. And the reason I put this one here is just because it's easier to manage these libraries if you put them in a requirements file. So here, these are my libraries that I currently have. So I'm just going to add one for Redshift here. So Dbt Redshift. So when I run this requirements file now to install, when I run the installation, it's going to install one for Redshift as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to save this. So remember also, you do need to create a virtual machine. So here I do have DBT demo as one of my virtual virtual environment, not virtual machine, virtual environment. So I think maybe in this demo, let's go ahead and delete this. I'm just going to delete this, and let's create another one. So I'm going to create another one. Let's see if we can actually open. Yeah, there we go. Because the other one was still pointing to the previous virtual environment. So here, let's go ahead and create another environment. So let's call this v and v, and maybe dbt v and v, like that. So this is going to create a virtual environment here, and it has finished creating. So we need to activate it. So to activate that, I'm using Mac. So I just need to do source and dbt pnv pin and activate, like that. So we have our virtual environment now active, and we should not have any libraries currently installed. So if you do pip freeze, that is going to return nothing. So now let's go ahead and install our libraries here, and when we do that, we expect DBT Core, Snowflake, MySQL, and Redshift to be installed. You can just remove all of these other ones for Snowflake and MySQL and just put Redshift here, because we are only doing for Redshift here. So, but I'm just going to leave the rest of this because I will be using these libraries for my other demo projects. So I'm going to go ahead now and do pip3 install our requirements. Okay, like so. If you don't want to use requirements, it's not a requirement, just go ahead and run this one. Just do pip and install both of this. It will work as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to run this. So this should install DBT Core, Snowflake, MySQL, and Redshift. Okay. And then when that is done, then we will go ahead and do our initialization. So that is complete. So we'll clear this. And then now we need now to initialize our DBT connection to Redshift. So to do that, all you have to do is do DBT and then init. So this DBT init is going to create a structure for you, and then also establish a connection to Redshift. But of course, we do need to put, the requirements and some of the values that are needed in order for that to be successful. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we need the name for our project. I'm going to call this Redshift, like so. Okay, so Redshift already exists in my profiles, right? I think this was from some time back when I was working with this. So I'm going to go to my profiles and let's say, okay, Redshift is right here. I'm going to delete this for Redshift. Like that. Okay. And save it. All right. So now let's go ahead and I'm just going to say continue and override. I'll say yes because we have removed it anyway. All right. And then we have number 4 here, which is the Redshift option here. I'm going to click 4. And then we do need to enter the host name. Okay, so let's go to Redshift now. And the host name, again, if you go to your Serverless dashboard and then go to your namespace and click the workgroup. Now, inside the workgroup is where your connection details are located. So I'm going to, so as you can see here, I have endpoint JDBC URL ODBC. We are going to be using the endpoint. So I'm going to copy that. I will bring it here and I will put it right here. So this is my host URL for Redshift. And I am going to just lift it up to here from dev namespace all the way, not including the port number and the environment. So I'm going to paste that one right here, like that. And then the port number remains the same. So I am going to just click enter. The username, I'm going to enter my username, and then the authentication means is by password for me. I'm going to press 1, and then I will enter the password. Okay, so the password that you enter should be the one that you created when you were creating your Redshift warehouse account. So that's the one that you put it here. And then now, if you see now, the DB name should be the one that we created. So if we go back here, the DB, the database is DBT demo, and staging is our schema. So here is the database or DBT demo, and then it should be staging is the schema for that, and then I'll leave the threads as one. Okay, so this is now created, and as you can see here, this has been created inside profiles. So all of this information we put here will be stored in your profiles. Now profiles is something that is only that you should only access because it contains sensitive information. So if you go to your Redshift project now, which has been created, we should see the structure. So DBT now has created automatically for us the structure, analysis, macros, models, seeds, snapshots, and all of that. Now, when you come to your models, when you start doing your transformations, you will mostly be working with models, snapshots, and if you have some CSV files, you can put them in seeds. So this is where you will be working mostly with. And as you can see here, we have some models, example models that we've been given. So this usually comes by default when you set up DBT for the very first time. So if you're setting the connection to any warehouse, it could be BigQuery, Redshift, Snowflake, any database also, MySQL, Postgre. This one comes by default when you do it. So here will be where you will be putting your models. And then as you can see anywhere here, you don't see profiles. So profiles will be located here in your users directory. So just go there and then you will see the .dbt file, and inside there you will have your profiles. All right. So here, this is our project. Now you can see that we have Redshift here, fashion, models, And one important thing that you can notice here is we have the materialization uh, inside the project, and this one is view. So that means that when you are writing your models, if you don't specify the materialization like they have done it here, then by default it's going to be created as a table. So this one, for example, is specified inside the model. So that means that when we run this model is going to be created as a table in Redshift. But for this second one here, it's not specified, so this one will run as a view. Another place that you can also put the materialization is here in the YAML files. You can put another additional option here for config and specify the materialization path. As you can see, this example is not specifying that, so that means that if it's not specified, it's going to take this one that is put in the project right here. And I think by default, even if you don't specify this, by default, DBT creates all the models as a view. So I think even if you were to delete this and don't specify this, it will still run, but then in your target table, you will see this created as a view or a views. All right. So now we have our project created, and the next thing that we need to do now is to test it. So we want to test if the connection to Redshift is working fine. So we need to go inside our project Redshift, and as you can see, these are the directories that were created. So here now you do need to run dbt debug here. Okay, so dbt debug is going to run through your setup, and if everything is fine, you will see it here. So for me, it seems like everything went fine, and you can see that all checks passed. So if you don't see here all checks passed, you will see another error, some other error, and most likely there are a few things that you will probably need to correct for that. It might be the username that you created for your Redshift, it might be the password, it might be the database, or the schema. So if none of those is correctly specified when you are setting up the project, then you might run into an error. And the error sometimes is pretty explanatory. It will tell you where the problem is. The other thing that I've seen with Redshift is if you have not opened the security settings, then you might time out. And I will just tell you that. I will just show you how to do that. So in case, and this is something that I actually ran into the first time I was setting this up. When I had this one ready to go and I did debug, it was hanging a lot. It stayed here for quite some time and then eventually timed out. And what I came to realize was the security group was not accepting incoming traffic from my local machine. So you do have to specify that. You have to open the security so that it can let you be able to write to Redshift. If you go to your security group, just come to the workspace or work group configuration dev namespace for me, and then scroll down to data access, and you will see here the security, network and security. Under network and security, you will see here the VPC security group. So that's the one that you are interested in. Just open it, and then you should have set this one up when you were creating the warehouse. So the one thing that you need to do is you need to update this. So just click this one, and then inside the inbound rules, just go to inbound rules. There's inbound, outbound, and all of this. So inbound rules means that the traffic that will be going to Redshift. Okay, so inside here, just edit the security group, go to inbound, and then right here, of course you need to choose your type here as Redshift, which is right there, and then the protocol is TCP, the port number is that one, and then the source um, should be my IP. If you put custom, I think that can work also, but I think my IP should work fine. And just click save, right? So of course for me it says you have made no changes because you know this is how I had it before. But yeah, so just make sure that it is reading from your IP and save it, and it's going to and then it should be able to work now. You can come back and test the connection, and hopefully it should work for you. Okay, so that one is very important step in case you want your communication to work well with your local laptop. Okay, so now that we have our communication working properly, then let's do the last thing now, which is we want to run this sample model and see if it's able now to write the data to Redshift. Okay, so again, this is a very basic one. You can have actual data that you put here in your models and do the transformation, but um, it should be the same. We just want to make sure that we are able to write back to Redshift after we transform our data. So we have these two models here in our model, and if we go to Redshift, again, we specified that we want to write to this database, Dbt demo, and our data should be written to staging. So right here, if you check, I'm just going to refresh this, and you can see that we do not have anything here. So in views, in public, nothing there. And in staging, we also don't have any table or fields. So what we expect to do when we run this, okay, so when we run this, we expect this first model to be created as a table, and the second one to be created as a field inside our staging schema. So again, we haven't changed the names for this anywhere as alias. So that means that when we run this model, this is going to be created with this name here, my first dbt model. That will be the name for the table, and also my second dbt model will be the name for our view. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click run, dbt run. So dbt run is going to run all of your models, and it will create them in your destination target. So let's go ahead and do that. So if your model is correctly set up, everything should run fine. And as you can see, for us, it's run successfully right here. So as you can see, our first staging model was created as a table and was also created inside the staging schema. The second one is created as a view inside the staging schema. So let's go ahead and check if those ones are available now. So if you refresh your namespace again and go to your database, we should be able to see yes. So here we go. So you can see that the table now has there's one table available and one view available. If you go inside it, we can see that that first model has been created, and I think you can even query it from there. Okay, so you can see that these are the results for that. The same thing with the view as well. So you can see the views, my second dbt model, and with the view, I think you have to manually run it. You have to select from it. I don't think there's an option here for running it, but yeah, so you can go ahead and just select from here, dbt demo staging. Let's see my second, right? My second dbt model, and that should also run because it's a view. There we go. All right, so that is now complete. We are able to establish the connection from dbt, and we can see that our transformed data now is automatically created in Redshift. Remember, we didn't do anything. We didn't manually create these tables. dbt automatically did it for us. And so that's how dbt works. You specify, you tell it what it needs to do, and it's going to go ahead and do it for you. So it's pretty neat, and it is very powerful for data engineers, data analysts to actually use this. It's going to make your life very easy. But yeah, so that is what I wanted to show you guys in this video. I just wanted to show you how to set up DBT to communicate with Redshift. So we went through the process of installing the library, DBT Core and Dbt Redshift. We set up our project, and that project created this structure for us. And during our project setup, we put all of the information that was needed, including the host name, the port number, the username, password, and also the most important thing that we did was made sure that the security group is accepting traffic from our local IP. Okay, so definitely do make sure that that's the case if you are following this process. All right, guys, so that is all I had for you in this video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button so that you can stay updated whenever I release similar videos. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye bye.